TND losses in the network. He is a widely traveled man. He has very good exposure of worldwide experience with various international meter manufacturing company, and he has worked for many utility in China, Taiwan, Korea, Europe, Mexico, etc. And he is a member of various government committees, task force, and the most important thing is a strong believer in data. And based on his meeting knowledge and utility experience, he has written a series of papers about role of energy meters and uses of energy meter data in various activity in power distribution business like network health monitoring, electricity theft, consumer behavior monitoring, cost optimization, revenue protection, network fault detection, energy audit, etc. Now, without wasting further a single minute, I am going to invite respected Bansal sir. Please come on the stage and start your presentation and make this stage on fire. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Dr. Rajesh, and good evening, everyone. I am Rajesh Bansal. I am Senior Executive Vice President, BSES Rajdhani. As you know, we are distributing power in Delhi. So I will just start sharing my presentation. Just a minute. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, it's visible. You can go full screen now.
Yeah. So today's topic is smart LT switchgear, which is an upcoming trend. Yeah. Since last few years, rather, I would say since last one decade, all of us are talking about smart grid, and most of the time when we talk about smart grid, we normally talk about smart metering. Now, I am particularly talking about one of the component of any network, a distribution network, that is smart LT switchgears. LT switchgears has a very, very important role in power distribution. And today I just want to discuss about the smart LT switchgear, which I feel is a really upcoming trend. And actually, this is the component which bring real smartness into the grid. Just a brief about our company, BSES Rajdhani. We are distributing power in south and west of Delhi in an area of 750 square kilometer. In year 1920, we had 2.55 million consumer. Our peak demand is 3,216. For Delhi, the peak demand is around 7,600 megawatt, which is almost 2.5 times that of say, a country like Singapore. And this year, our not TND, AT&C loss, we have touched 6.92. And why I am saying so? Because I feel proud. Below 7 is our dream, and we have achieved this year. Although last year was a COVID year, but still we are able to manage to reach to a level of 6.92%. And along with our group company BYPL, we are serving to almost two-thirds of Delhi, something like 4.2 million and 42 lakhs customers. So, when we talk about smart assets or smart grid, especially in context to the power distribution business, I feel all this smart grid, smart metering, smart switch gears, these are all technology. When we talk about adoption or adaptation of any technology, there has to be a purpose. There is no need to simply copy a technology because the technology is available. There has to be a purpose. And in our case, basically the purpose is to bring the efficiency in our distribution business, power distribution business. And there is a big need to have smart assets. The reason is our power distribution business is changing a lot. Long back, the system was, our motto used to be power for all. Now we have to arrange power for everyone. That was used to be the motto. In fact, still the MOP used this motto, power for all. But I feel as a distribution man, the definition need to be changed. It is power for each consumer. So there is a big difference between all consumer and each consumer. So all consumer is from the supply side. When I say each consumer, it means from the recipient side. There may be, if I am arranging some food for 100 people, if I arrange 100 packet, it is like I have arranged food for all. But unless and until everyone get the food packet to his taste and so that he can consume it, then only I can proudly say that I have served the food to each consumer. So there is a big difference. So today, the consumer wants safe and quality power. Now, Earlier, the quality power used to be power aa rahi hai ya nahi aa rahi hai. Now it's no longer. Now people really talk about quality power. They talk about the voltage level. They talk about the harmonics. So today the consumer wants safe and quality power as per his demand. Now this word demand is, although electrically demand means kilowatt and megawatt, but let me tell you, in power distribution, the word demand, the definition has changed. It is no longer just kilowatt. It is demand is now represented in kilowatt, and then we specify at which location at this time. So today, what consumer is saying, you have to give me whatever quantity I want, wherever I want, and whatever time I want. So, for example, an electrical vehicle. Now, there he is saying, I need power for charging wherever I want, on the road, in my office, at my home, in a mall. So, wherever he want and whatever time he want. So, this is how the definition of power distribution is changing. The no load, the load, the static, and we have to meet each consumer demand with efficiency and reliability. So this is one part where the definition of power distribution has changed. The scenario has totally changed. On the other side, if you see the World Economic Forum, they are talking about that with time, the power scenario will further change when there will be more renewable. Everybody is opting for more and more renewable. There will be more rooftop solar. There will be more wind energy. There will be more new types of renewable, and all this renewable may bring more unpredictability. Unpredictability why? Because the loads are moving, more renewable will be there, weathers are becoming unpredictable. Even today's Hindustan Times news, it was there that last 12 months in Delhi was the most unpredictable. Most of the record, highest rainfall in a day, lowest rainfall in a day, highest temperature in a month, lowest temperature in a month, and all sort of records have been broken in last 12 months. So it is, weather is also becoming more unpredictable, and consumer want to have more engagement. He want time-based tariff, he want rooftop, he want net metering, he want to be participate in demand response. So the power distribution scenario is changing. It is becoming more unpredictable. Consumer is more demanding. SADI SAFI has to be more and more. There is a need to improve them. People are expecting high reliable power supply. Even during the COVID, when everybody was at home, earlier we used to ensure that all hospitals, all institutes need to have reliable power. At least those we have to ensure. But today, during the COVID time, say 3 weeks back, when a lot of houses were having oxygen concentrator and so every house was critical. So we cannot afford to have any power failure, and so under such circumstances, definitely we need smart assets. And there is no doubt, even Government of India has a policy to go for smart metering. Only thing is they specify the word smart metering. What I am saying is we need not just the smart metering, but we need the smart grid, or rather all assets in the network to be the smart. Now, when we talk about any technology, there has to be a reason for having those technology. And the simple reason is, if smart grid, smart meter, smart switchgear, smart assets are for our distribution company, or we call utility or discoms, then it should address the typical issues, typical concerns, typical problems and expectations of utility. Now here I have specified what are our expectations, or as a utility, these are the common expectations of. First and foremost is to reduce the capital cost and the operation cost, so that overall supply to the cost of supply to the consumer is lowest. Consumer does not bother what is our expenses. He is more worried about at what rate he is getting the power. I always feel the basic cause for all the inefficiency and other thing, or your apex and your issues, is the demand curve. So definitely we have the expectation that demand curve, which is normally an issues, how best we can manage that. Network optimization is another thing, which includes reducing the technical losses. Today, when we are at 6.92, then we hardly have 1% commercial loss, but the remaining are technical loss. So in our case, more than 80% loss, what we have is technical loss. Definitely revenue enhancement and leakage protection, power reliability and faster outage management. Now, power reliability is from the fault side, and faster outage management is once there is a fault, no circuit, we cannot claim that it is fault free. But if there is an outage or if there is a fault, we should be able to manage the outage in the minimal time. Renewable integration, as I said, customer satisfaction, customer engagement. Lot of people, they say meter reading is our objective. Another, I feel these are the activities. These are not the objectivity. These are the basic things. We have to generate the bill. We have to make the bill. We have to do collection. These are the our activities. The objectives are the one which we have mentioned. And the topmost objective above and all is today in India, the second biggest cause for unnatural death after road accident is the electric death due to electrocution of electric shock, electric fire. So we have to ensure that the network is safe, employees are safe, and the consumer using the power, they are also safe. The power should be safe to use. So these are our objectives. And we have to see all our smart grid, smart metering, they should address these issues, these concerns, and these expectations of the utility. Definitely, a lot of utility which are some of the utilities even they have the objective like 100% metering in proper tariff because of the regulator not giving them proper tariff or cash flow. These are the concerns for others also. But incidentally, the one which I am talking about, the smartness to smart grid and other, they may not handle or they may not address these issues. But the issues which I mentioned can be issued addressed, and this is what the agenda of this particular presentation. If I talk about the energy flow, say especially in our company BSES or in a typical any utility, typically these utilities they get power at 66 kV or at 33 kV. There are few which get the power at 132 kV also. Then there are the transmission networks, then which is followed by the grid, where the signals are brought at 11 kV. In India, 22 kV is not so popular, but 11 kV is the most popular one. We say it HT level. And then we have distribution transformer where the energy is further transformed from 11 kV to 440 or single phase to 30. Now all the assets which are there in the network, the energy flow through all these assets, and all these assets, their behavior, their capacity, their capabilities, they affect the objective of the distribution company. This is very important to understand. We say normally EHV assets has the more importance. No, each and every asset. When we talk about distribution network, each asset, whether it is a LT feeder or whether it is a feeder pillar or whether it is a distribution transfer, each asset affects the utility objective in terms of capex, in terms of reliability, in terms of SADI, in terms of loss, and so on. Now, here I just made a comparison that how the assets really affects the utility objective. Theft, you will agree the maximum theft is at LT level or at the distribution transformer. Out of the outage, the contribution due to the LT and DT is the highest. Out of the manpower, the maximum manpower is used to maintain the LT network. The technical losses, normally they are 50% of the losses are because of LT network. Consumer complaints, no doubt. Power quality issues, again, you have more at the LT level. You hardly have any power quality issue at EHV level. Then renewable integration is always done at LT level. Tariff, those who buy power at high voltage, their tariff is low, higher as compared to the lower this thing, although it should be other way. Safety accidents, you will find, like in my company, we hardly have any accident at EHV level, but most of the accident happens at LT level or sometime at HT level. And same with the consumer also. And asset failures are high. Now, if you see, if you compare the company objectives, company concerns, company problems, company issues, isn't you feel that these are more at LT and DT level? All the parameters I have mentioned, you will find it is more at DT and LT level. But when we talk about automation and SCADA, we normally talk about at EHV level. So, in brief, if I say it is the LT network which has the highest impact on the utility objective and is the major contributor of utility concern and issues. Today, I have more than 3,000 people who are maintaining LT network and just 400 people who are maintaining EHV network. The power flow through both the network. So it's like this. And majority of the utility they make, they put the effort or technology for EHV and ST network. Yes, the biggest reason for that is if there is an outage at HT level or EHV level, normally those outages are long in nature and large number of consumers get affected. In our case, if one grid get affected, almost 25,000 consumer get affected. If one ST feeder get affected, around 2,000 consumer get affected. But if a distribution transformer get affected, maybe 200 to 250 consumer get affected. And if a LT feeder get affected, it's around 50 to 60 consumer. And if it is a pole, maybe 5 to 10 consumer. So it is maybe that if there is a failure at CHP and ST level, the large number of consumer get affected, and normally the outages take long time. So these are the area where the lot of emphasis are there. But we have to remember that day-to-day working, the maximum work resources are on the LT network side. So there is a smartness which is needed at the LT network side. And to bring the smartness, you have to have online data. There is no way, there is no way, whether whatever smartness we talk, whether we talk about smart metering, smart grid, it is first thing is online data generation, and you have to have online data. Add to that is the data analytics so that we can have cost reduction, load management, and network optimization. So with this background, one of my favorite slide, what exactly is the analytics? Analytics is to find objective from the reality, and that is the analytics. Now, what is reality? Truly speaking, data is reality. Data is what actually happened. This was the voltage, this was the current, this was the load, this was the power factor. These are all data. This was the outage data. It's something which has already happened, which is a fact, which is a truth, which is like nature. Nothing, nobody can change that. And based on that facts, that truth, and based on our past experience, based on our analytical ability, if we can predict what is going to happen, that is analytics. And let me tell you, the power of prediction can make you a god. If you can predict something correctly, you can definitely take corrective action much before. So it is the using the data, which is something like a history, which is something like a past, and predicting the future is analytics. And it can be done because we know if two event has similar history, then the outcome will be also same. So if we know in past with the such type of trend, the end result was like this. So we can expect if we have the similar trend right now, or online trend is similar, then the end result we can expect. And that's what that was the analytics, and that's what it gives you the smartness, and that's the key things. And as I said, LT network has maximum effect on the objective of the company. And if we bring smartness to that, we can address maximum issues, concerns, and our expectation regarding the LT network and as a company, as a DISCOM. So today also we have lot of data because all meters used in India are electronic meter. Since metering regulation 2006, it is compulsory to use static meters, and there is lot of data. This data we can collect and we can do lot of predictions using this data. The only thing is these data are collected periodically, typically once in a month when you do the meter reading or you do the downloading. So these data are good enough to plan your network, to plan your upcoming load demand, and to plan your consumer behavior, to plan some of the faults, and especially network planning you can definitely do. And you can also judge what is the quality of supply you have given and so on. But once you have online sensors and online or smart meters which are passing the data online, the biggest advantage with the online data is you immediately get the information of the quality of power which you are supplying, A, and B is what exactly is the loading of assets in the network. Now to manage the fault, to manage the outages, to manage the damages due to overloading, etc., you have to have online data. You cannot do any analysis or you cannot prevent them just by historical data. If suppose a historical data, 1 month old data shows that there was a hotspot at particular location, after 1 month you can't do anything. By the time you will reach there, that hotspot has already converted into a fault. But if it is online data, you can do lot many things. You can prevent a fault, you can prevent a damage, maybe you can prevent an accident. So online data has its own advantage, and that's why it is always recommended that we should have smart switch gears or smart assets, because that enables the utility professionals a lot and enable them to work efficiently and reliably. Now, when we talk about smartness, here I would like to say something slightly different. A lot of people, when they talk about smart meter, they talk about meter with the communication, connect, disconnect, HES and other thing. But let me say one thing. This word smart meter, smart grid has become popular because we always compare with the smartphones. And if I ask a question, yes, all of us use smartphones, but what the advantage? Definitely we become smarter when we use smartphone. Now, what enhance our smartness? Is it the physical smartphone or it is the smart apps on the phone? What I mean to say, the apps like Facebook, Google, or right now I'm talking about the through this webinar platform, or there are so many apps which are there, which we use. Whether these apps bring the smartness or it is the phone which brings the smartness. I am sure every one of you will agree it is the apps which brings the smartness. So it's not just merely having a physical device or a product, you can become a smart. Today, just by having a phone, imagine if you are driving a car and we use the Google Maps or Maps as an application. Now it is that application which make our driving smarter, not just carrying the phone in our pocket will make the driving smarter. So apps has a very big role, but to run the apps, we need the smart device. So when we talk about smart assets or whether LT switchgear or we talk about smart meter, so here we talk, when we talk about anything, we have to talk in context to, or also it is assumed that smart device or smart grid means not only the device, it includes the smart apps also. And the smart device is just a tool. App brings you near to the solution. And it is the smart person which combine the two, smart tool, that is smartphone or smart asset or smart meter and smart apps, and then they have the solution. So finally, it's not alone the smart meter will help, it is just a tool. It is not alone the smart app will help, you need a smart brain, and then you need, of course, a smart tool. And when you club your smart tool, smart app, and your smart brain, smart engineers, then you have the posterior. So smart asset alone is not sufficient, but without smart asset, you cannot talk about the other two. So now we are talking about the leveraging the maximum benefit and why we should have smartness in the LT network. Now, as I said, some of the objectives, the key objectives like safe and reliable power. Now, how we can achieve that? How we can achieve this objective of safe and reliable power? We cannot achieve unless until we have load and demand curve monitoring. We have to monitor. We cannot just have a blanket that, okay, whatever electricity is flowing, I am as a head network, I have no idea on what wire, what asset, on my transformer, on my grid, what level of energy is flowing, on my feeder, what level of energy is flowing, whether the current flowing or the load flowing with respect to the capacity, how is the behavior and so on. Similarly, we also know if we want to have reliable power, what is the potential faults or potential safety accidents so that we can detect them and do, if required, we can do a necessary tripping to ensure that these faults or these safety accident does not become a big issue, and before they become an issue we can prevent them. Energy audit asset level is must. Typically people talk about company level energy audit or company level demand curve. I personally believe in distribution business, this is the biggest mistake and biggest myth about doing the energy audit at company level or demand curve or studying the demand curve or taking the decision of demand curve at the company level. Let me tell you, the company level demand curve is useful only for one application, how to schedule your power. But that is not the distribution business. That is not the distribution business. That is one of the stat, how much power you have to buy. The most important, your distribution business, distribution business is you buy the power at the periphery. So the company level demand curve, company level energy audit means buying the power at periphery. That's all. How the power will be distributed through what network, what all assets are involved and so on. Then you have to have demand curve and energy audit of that asset. Unless until I know if I have 10,000 transformer, unless until I know the demand curve of all my 10,000 transformer, I cannot ensure no failure. I cannot ensure lower technical losses. I cannot ensure how much money I have to spend on the upgradation or revamping and so on. So, many times people, distribution company, they talk about company level demand curve and they says कि रूफटॉप आ जाएगा तो डिमांड कर्व में ये हो जाएगा एंड सो ऑन, बिकॉज यू शुड नॉट टॉक अबाउट द कंपनी लेवल डिमांड कर्व, इट इज ऑलवेज द एसेट लेवल डिमांड कर्व. So And when you talk about asset level, means the asset, there has to be a measurement and there has to be online data. In order to reduce the failures, we have to have preventive maintenance. Now, preventive maintenance, you can have, a standard chart of preventive maintenance or trend based. Now, in order to do trend based preventive maintenance, you have to have trend data, and that is not possible unless until you have the smart display. Faster information about the outages, and if there is a fault, we should have the facility remotely take an action so that we can sectionalize that faulty area and restore the power from alternate source. Now, activities, these are the activities desired, enable so that a utility can have safe and reliable power. Now, when we talk about the financial health, like reducing the operational cost, reducing the capitalization cost, reducing the cost of power purchase, or loss reduction, both technical and this thing, again, these are the activities we have to do in order to have a good financial health. We have to reduce our cost, we have to reduce our loss, we have to reduce our power purchase cost. That means the load curve management. These are basics. To enhance the consumer satisfaction, you have to give them safe power, quality power. You have to have service level agreement. Like in Delhi, we have an agreement about the how many hour outage we can have to a particular consumer. You have to have lower cost, renewable integration, future services, and information about outage. Now, if I want all to carry out all these activities regarding the reliable and safe power, regarding the financial health, regarding enhancing the consumer experience, then I definitely need smart LTE network assets. So coming to my main agenda, this is the background. If I want to meet the company objective, if I want to meet the distribution company or a utility objective, since I am working in a utility, when I say my company means it refers to all the utilities, not only my company or not only utilities of India, it is a utility of world. If they want to have reliable and safe power, they need LTE network assets smart. If they want to reduce or they want to have a good financial health, they need smart LTE network. If they want to enhance the consumer experience, they need smart LTE network. And what we have to add is, we have to have energy meter on the LTE network assets. We have to have smart apps and servers with the capability like HES and data management. And definitely there has to be a bi-directional communication. So unless until we have this thing, these things will enhance, this thing will make the capacity of the utility professionals to serve better to meet the company objectives. This is the typical flow at the LT level. You have a distribution transformer. Of late, at least in my company since 2006, all my distribution transformer have meters. Most of them has modem. We have emojis on our distribution transformer, especially all type transformer. Most of the transformer, they have RMU, and many of them has APFC, not all, because of KVH billing. Lot of consumer, they maintain their power factor, so we don't need APFC at all. But some of the consumer, we are still having APFC. So this is the typical, or we call it substations, where apart from the transformer, you have meter, modem, MOG, RMU, and APFC. Now, the LT side of the transformer, we have main ACB, and then for each feeder, we have ACB, or some place we have MCCB. Then we have LT feeder. LT feeder goes to the feeder pillar or LT pole. From LT pole, you have pole DB or service lines, and that goes to the consumer panel. Now, this is a typical network, any LT network where the distribution transformer is used. There is nothing special. Everywhere you have same. Yes, if you have HVDS network, then normally you don't have ACB, MCCBs, and typically it is on the pole, so there is no question of feeder pillar and other things. But this is a typical LT network. And when we talk about the smart grid, so you have a data generation, collection, processing, analytics, and decision. So if we want to make our LT network smart, we have to have a capability, we have to have assets where we can generate the data, and we have software, servers, and apps, and smart brains and smart engineers who can analyze the data to bring the smartness. So this is the device what we have developed in the sense, got it developed, and we are working on it. We visualize, we realize, me and my team, we realize that we need to have smart ACB, MCCBs, and MCBs. MCB we don't use much, but some places we use like street light and other. But definitely we use lot of smart ACB, lot of ACBs and MCCB. If I remember correctly, we are having something like 40,000 ACBs and MCCB together as LT network assets. And So far we are using only the circuit breaker, but now what we are looking for is circuit breaker with a complete meter built into it with sensors and IOs. It has to be a bi-directional communication, and definitely it is integrated with the existing switchgear, which can be MCCB or ACB. So it is like one device. Yes, we have so far ACB as a separate device, meter as a separate device, and a modem as a separate device. Here we are talking all in one, so that there is a proper synchronization, proper compactness, and there is no need of duplication. Means everybody, there is a microprocessor for each application, and at one location you have 10 different microprocessor and so on. So there is a complete synchronization, and it's a compact thing, and for a mission to achieve the objectives what we had. And now if suppose we have a device like what I have shown with the capabilities which I have shown, and as I said, this is an upcoming trend. So we feel in future, most of the utilities will need such type of devices. That's why I said it is an upcoming trend. Now I am just showing by one example. If I have such device in my network, how I will improve my network operation efficiency. So when I talk about network operation efficiency, I am talking about the operational efficiency. That means lower fault, lower outages, lower failure, voltage quality. Of course, I am talking about technical losses need to be lower, and I am talking about the operational and capital cost which need to be lower. Now, based on this thing, we have made certain formulas, or which I said certain apps, or certain logics, that if I keep my asset loading near to the ideal value and keep all asset loading equal, then I will have the best operational efficiency, lowest technical losses, and lowest OPEX and CAPEX costs, because the failure will be lowest, there will be no overloading, and most efficient utilization of my assets. So my need is operational efficiency, technical loss, and OPEX CAPEX. My formula, my methodology, my philosophy is simple: keep the asset near to the ideal value so that we have equal loading. If there is a deviation in the voltage quality and other parameter, then it indicates there is a network stress, and rather than keep on adding the assets which are stressed, just revamping or adding new assets, replan what are the assets which are overloaded, what are the assets which are underloaded, and just transfer the load from overloaded to underloaded, so that you have balancing and you have the best operational efficiency. So I have to do this. Now imagine, can I do without smart switchgears? Can I do without knowing what is the loading on my distribution transformer and feeder online, not offline? Because I have to do balancing, I have to carry out all this operation online only. Because loading changes, weather changes, demand changes, new connection are added, consumer behavior changes. So I have to adjust this, and for that I need measurement, I need online data, I need online analysis, I need online inferences from the analysis, and I need online action. So that if I can carry out all these three, my operational efficiency will be highest, no fault, no outages, no failure, quality will be best, technical losses will be lowest, lowest OPEX, lowest CAPEX. And this is what I say asset optimization. So demands varies continuously. If I plan everything for the peak, like in Delhi, as I said, my peak is 3200. Now, if I plan for 3200, suppose if I plan and keeping n-1, that means if I plan for something like 7000 megawatt for 3200, let me tell you, my average loading or the load factor is 50% of the peak, because in winter, the demand become almost 20% or 15% of the peak, 15 to 20%. So my average load for the year will be half of the peak. That means for 3200, if I plan 7000, my average load is 1600. So 1600, I have planned 7000. In winter, it will be 800. For 800, I have planned 7000. Imagine how much inefficient will be my circuit. How much more technical loss I have because of the fixed capacity or the fixed technical losses due to the assets. So it is very important to plan and have a concept of uniformity, so that the loading of assets remains same throughout. Keep it as possible, as far as possible, near to the average value and to the desired value. And how we do it, we have already tried it. we call it the concept of road traffic, and we treat ourselves, distribution engineer or my network operation engineer as the traffic police. The traffic is like load, smooth road is like healthy network, road accident is like network fault, and we are like traffic police. And our job is ensure no jamming, that is no stress, no overloading so that the vehicle can move smoothly, and all the roads have equal traffic. Imagine if all the roads have equal traffic, that is the ideal condition. Do not plan a road so that you have traffic only for 2 hours. And let me tell you, practically, if the traffic increase, it does not mean that you can keep on widening the road. You have to plan alternate road. You have to plan this thing and check which are the road which has the lowest traffic so that you can divert the traffic there. And that's what we say. We are like traffic police. It's not like once we have laid a wire and forget it. We are in operation. We are doing network operation. It's a dynamic activity. It's not a static activity. Once plan and forget. And unless until we think like this, even your Google map, it keeps on changing the path depending upon this thing. So same way we have to do. So we have to be like a Google map where we can ensure that no jamming and nothing is there. Even Google map cannot ensure a jamming, but we can ensure that jamming so that we have the efficient thing. And definitely we have the lowest technical losses. We know why the technical losses are more. If there is non-uniformity, the technical losses will be more. And this is the data which we keep on getting online, and then we ensure wherever is there imbalance, make it balanced. You cannot have exactly equal, but try to make them as equal as possible. Keep on computing your standard deviation. If the standard deviation is high, then make it near to bring to the average value. And this is true for distribution transformer. This is true for LT feeder. This is true for three-phase of a feeder. The load on all the three-phase should be equal. The load, if there are 5 LT feeders from a transformer, all the 5 should have tried to make the load equal. And so is your distribution transformer. So this is what which brings the smartness. And this is one activity how we are doing. Suppose we find a distribution transformer has a comparatively higher load, then the GIS will immediately show which are the transformer within 500-meter range and which has the lower load. And then our team will go and they transfer the load from higher to lower. No asset is added. Remember, no asset is added. Now, we have just transferred. So no stress on network. So no failure. There is balancing, low technical losses. No asset is added. So lower capex, maximum utilization of the assets. And finally, definitely once we have smart assets, and if I can do the switching remotely, even the manpower required will be lower, failures will be lower, fault will be lower, and overall it will bring efficiency and a delight to the consumer. So this is how we are doing it today, not exactly online, but we are collecting the data through AMR and doing it. We wish if we have smartness, because with AMR the problem is we are not able to do the action side so far. We are just doing the reaching to the conclusion, but actions are manual. So once we have smart asset, then even the actions will be this thing. Similarly, we keep on measuring what is the voltage level at the sending end, at the receiving end, and the drop is the biggest factor or biggest indicator. How is the health of the network? If the health of the network is good, if the loading is good, then definitely your drop will be minimum. And if there is a fluctuation means your network is in poor condition. This is what we strongly say. So with this objective, we need a instrument, we need a switch gears so as which can have a capability to monitor these parameters like voltage regulation, harmonics, unbalancing in the current, power supply status, had a facility of auto recloser, and to shut off, if we do the plant shutdown and other thing, we can remotely monitor what area is shut down and so on. Even to have smart preventive, I need the record of when it went overlapping, how many short circuiting tripping were there, how many fault level tripping was there, what was the contact temperature, so that I can plan whether I have to do preventive once in a year, thrice in a year, or once in 3 years, or once in 4 years, or I can just simply go by it. I normally take, when I talk about preventive and this thing, about the failures and preventive, people say we have 11% failure, we have this failure. No, we have literally failure less than 1%. And I give one parallel example. In Delhi, there are 70 lakh cars. In Delhi, we have 70 lakh cars. And you will hardly see any car standing on the road or its engine has failed or something like that. You will hardly see. Maybe you travel 100 kilometers in Delhi, you will not even see 100 cars or even less than that. Now, why the car does not fail but our equipment fail? The reason is we don't do the plant preventive maintenance and we don't do the plant servicing. Please remember, servicing and attending failures are different. We wait till the equipment fails, then only we attend it. So for energy audit and load monitoring, we need data in kWh, MDI, phase balancing. These are the things which we know. Of course, this presentation will be shared. Now, what we have listed down, in order to achieve my objective, I need smart LT switchgear. In smart LT switchgear, what are the features I am looking for? So these are the list for features. I have noted down each feature against my objective. You know, a lot of people, they buy smart meter. If you ask them why you need this parameter, they don't know. It's something like when you buy a laptop and you go to the shop in Nehru Place, because Nehru Place is the biggest center for people buy the laptop, and the seller, the company who's selling the laptop or the showroom which selling the laptop, he will ask the person, Java load कर दूं? हाँ अंकल कर दीजिए. ये वाला सॉफ्टवेयर लोड कर दूं? हाँ ये भी कर दीजिए. And they load 100 software, and when they come back, पता पड़ा total system ही overload हो गया. You should know what feature you want. Today, people are asking 500 parameter on the display. Now, are you going to watch these 500 parameters? Or I will give you another example. People buying smart meter and again asking for 500 parameter on display. Now, are you going to read a smart meter manually? Or from last 25 years, we are buying HT meters with so many parameter, load curves, 180 days load curve, but not downloading the meter and simply reading the data using a paper or pencil. So we should know what exactly we want and why we want. Don't ask for something which is extra. So we try to compile. And as I said, our philosophy is to do the optimization of the assets so that we do not have a stress and overloaded assets, and we can have a balancing at transformer level, feeder level, and this thing, and have the technical losses. Uh, for theft also, we have added some of the parameter, like we can set the limit. Suppose there is a 400 ampere ACB. Today, the 400 ampere ACB normally trips at between 70 to 90% of the set value. Here, even a 400 I can set for 100 ampere. Why? Because in winter my loads are low. Maybe I can set it lower. I can do N-line energy audit if my consumer is a smart meter. Now, setting the limit helps a lot. We have tried this area where a lot of theft were there. What we did, we summed the total MDI and set that value. So since the consumer, they were bypassing the energy, it was not recording as a FDI. So there was a limit. So if anybody draw power by direct hooking, immediately the ACB used to get trimmed. And then the neighbor will, we had told them, if you do the theft by hooking, your ACB will trip. So the neighbor used to keep a watch, because he knows if my neighbor will do the theft by hooking, even my supply will go. So this is what we use, and this is, we feel, will be a big feature which can help to reduce the losses. Technical losses, as I said, can be this thing. For CapEx and OpEx, auto recloser is something which will reduce our manpower. Lower fault will reduce our manpower. Uniform loading will reduce our manpower and need for the CapEx. Earlier, lot of people, they draw, even we used to do 3 years back, all our distribution transformer, we used to see at peak what capacity loading is there. So we normally try to maintain it below 70%. That means at peak, the transformer loading should not be more than 70% of the transformer capacity. But there are incidents when it used to go 80%, 90%, sometimes even 100%, because suddenly a big load has come and it has crossed the value. So once it crossed maybe 90%, 100%, we used to either install a new transformer or augment the capacity. But we realize that there are very few percentage, maybe 10%, 5%. After the summer, we used to check every month, August, September, how many transformer has crossed the value of 70%. And we used to find 10%, 12%, 15% has crossed. And then augment, make the scheme so that in winter we augment and ready for the next summer. But we realize with time, the percentage of transformer loaded less than 20% are something like 30, 35%. And we used to always emphasize on the loaded one. We always talk about overloaded, stress network. We never talk about underloaded. And then we said, no more augmentation, no more new. If you have overloaded, look for which is underloaded near to that and transfer the load. No more adding of assets. Have more feeders, no issue, but have no more distribution transformers. And that has worked. And last 2-3 years, The capex cost has gone down drastically because of that, and there are more feeder. And let me tell you, the two big advantage if you have more feeder. A, there is no fixed technical losses. If the current is zero, the loss will be zero, unlike in transformer. And B, more the feeder, the current get divided and the losses will reduce. And it gives you flexibility also to restore the power from alternate mode and other. So that's how we do. And definitely we need safe power, so we can program so that we can have a detection of this thing, we can have a detection of wire snapping, have some online sensing, and it can work as a so these are the parameter. Based on our objective, based on our target objective, we decided this thing. And as I said, network efficiency, to enhance the efficiency and asset optimization is key. For that, we need intelligent switchgear like data generator, communication, and apps to enhance this thing. And we have two concept of abnormality and concept of uniformity concept. These are our terms we use when we do the analytics. And concept of uniformity helps to optimize the assets. And the above is just too basic to leverage maximum benefit. One has to go in depth and make a document. This is just now. These are the features. Finally, we consolidated. We need a full protection against overload, short circuiting, earth leakage, over and under voltage, phase loss, unbalanced, high temperature. We can remotely set these parameters because these are not the consumer parameters. These are the audit meters or asset meters. So there is no fear that somebody can manipulate this thing. So electric parameter setting we need remotely. We have a remote control, and for that we have to have a good communication, both wired or it can be on Wi-Fi, on GPRS. There we have certain program events which can be programmed into the device so that we can have alert, auto reclosing again with the logic, and then electric parameter check. Like if suppose I go on the site, I can see on the LCD and also on my mobile with the mobile application, real-time monitoring of basic electrical parameters. Now these are the design. Let me tell you, let me clarify. I am not a manufacturer. I am not an equipment developer. What I am saying is, I feel in short, in coming days, we need a device with all these features and the reason which I have specified. These are my objectives. These are the reasons. We have done certain trials. We are doing trials. We feel whatever we have done, we feel there is a strong need. If we have these popular devices, we can do much, much, much better. And when I say we, means all utilities, all discoms, not only in Delhi, but all across India, all across world. And it will have something like this configuration. Through iCloud, the data will go and finally to the server, and then you can see the app on your mobile to the users. So mobile and web applications are the key things. These are the other features because it's outdoor, so we need for outdoor application, fireproof and UV proof. Mobile app, as I said, because ultimately it is for the linemen or the people working in the field. Communication, they have to give us the flexibility of GPRS, wire open, Wi-Fi, not Wi-Fi, sorry, Wi-Fi, open and shared protocol. Why I have mentioned OPFC, optical fiber, sorry, not OPFC, optical fiber communication, OFC. The reason is if I have to use it for protection, and if I have to sense the data at one point and communicate to the circuit, other circuit breaker, then I cannot, rely on GPRS or something like that, because the action has to be within 20 to 30 milliseconds. So for that, I am ready to lay a special fiber piece or a wire piece, but so that facility should be there. Definitely, I need a strong web application with good HES and good data management, some basic MIS, IO ports to integrate other devices, sensors and breakers, and servicing, installation, and support. We already have tried these things with our ACBs, with the separate meter, modem and other things, using FRTUs and other. Now what we are looking for is something which is integrated. This is the difference between something which is integrated, I call it smart switch gear, versus the option where I have separate meter, separate modem, FRTU, and so on. It will have an advantage of accidental protection, real-time monitoring, communication, remote action. Now this is the most important thing. And then temperature check, auto reclosing, event recording pushing, which will help me to do the preventive maintenance, and which empowered my field team using a mobile apps and to see the display. About the switch gear, So far, I have no suggestion. The present switch gear, whatever are the switch gear, they are okay. Only thing is, as far as switch gear specification is concerned, the same is okay. They are perfectly okay. I do not want any change. Only thing is, I want these additional feature on the existing one, and I prefer if the size and mounting can be maintained. Same. Of course, if they maintain the price also, I will be the most happiest person on that. And this is the status as on date. We had gained lot of experience using AMR DT meters, smart RMU data, and we have developed lot of apps. As I shown you one of the apps about how to transfer the load in a overloaded distribution transformer. We have similar apps how to transfer load from online data of the feeders and so on. We are doing trials, and with the we have one vendor. We have identified one vendor who has supplied us some of the smart MCCB. He has shown us. He is supplying us shortly, and we are going to use it in a high loss distribution transformer to check whether we are really able to control the losses. We are going to use it on the feeder pillar and pole DB to do the energy audit at LT level, and also to control the and to ensure safer supply. We are going to replace our DT meter modem in low kVA DT. No more meters, no more DT meters, only the smart ACB. That is good enough. It will act as a meter, it will act as a APFC controller, it will act as a modem, it will act as a FRTU, everything all in one. And we also want to use it in a very good area where the consumer are high paying, so that I can ensure my reliability. My SADI, which is around 6.7, I want to further bring it down so that my outages per year further reduces. Of course, the impact on safety, especially ELCB feature, shocks, snapping of wire detection, electric shock detection, or something like that, and a special application like street light controller. Any of our street light, I use a meter, I use a controller, I use a MCCB. So can this three in one, can it replace my this thing? So for that, I am looking for vendors. Although, as I said, I have one vendor who has already given me some pieces for trial. Vendor for smart switch gear, vendor for smart apps maker, and also utility who want to collaborate. I strongly believe smart LT switch gears is the future. It's a big business potential. It is something like a wonder device for the utilities. I am sure I have shared my concept. I shared why it is needed, what all difference it will make, how it will benefit the utilities, and that's the reason we are going for this. This is the product which we have identified. We are doing the trial. This is a smart MCCB on which we are planning to carry out the trial. And what next is, we feel smart LT switchgear is the needed in the near future. It's a good business opportunity for manufacturer and IT company. In fact, this is one of my agenda to invite people to look into it. Like, so many people are working on smart meter, but somebody or all of us should work also on the smart LT switchgear. Switchgear need to be developed in close coordination with meter companies and utilities. Every project apart from technical meter need a financial viability, and I can assure you in this case there is a very high financial viability. And if you are planning for a smart switchgear, this is my suggestion to the any utility: please make your roadmap. And smart switchgear is a tool, but you need definitely smart apps and smart manpower to leverage the benefit, and for that training is must. So this is all I have, and this is a planning chart, but basically these are the steps what we have mentioned. So if you believe in knowledge sharing or you want to know more, you are free to contact me. So this is all, Dr. Rajesh, from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this mind-blowing presentation from your side. I am very thankful to you. And we are not going to forget two beautiful things: how to manage stress. And you have given very good examples, memorable examples of traffic management that were depicted in a very good manner. We are not going to forget it. You have shown how to bring smartness. Only smart assets is not enough. You have to use smart applications. You have talked about analytic, very good thing. But before I go for questions, I have three small questions to make. You have already started working on that smart switch gear. What is the impact of that smart switch gear on tariff and financial impact?
See, as I said, we see it's like this. One is switch gear. Second is I will call it semi-smart switchgear, where you have a separate meter, you have a FRTU, you have a modem. So we already have a very good experience, and in fact, we were going in large number to make the existing switchgear smarter by having. But then there are three separate devices. Meter was separate, modem was separate, and FRTUs were separate. And why we are increasing the number? Definitely, we find them highly beneficial, and the investment, whatever we are making, the returns are much better. You can imagine we have reached to a loss level of 6.92. In fact, the last year, the major contributor was the reduction in the technical loss, which has contributed the most. In our company, if we reduce the technical loss by 1%, means 100 crore rupees, and
You
which
are
is a
right.
big amount, I can
Agree.
say. Even if we reduce our SADI by 1 hour, it means a lot,
Mm.
because our thickness increases that much. And
Because
so in
some
terms of
incentives
safety,
are also given from the regulatory commissions if you reduce your SFE-SIDs.
yes, definitely. And even
Yeah,
the employees, they get incentives for that. Yeah, definitely.
definitely.
And
And one last
and
question to make,
in fact,
very simple question.
yeah, Dr. Rajesh, I just want to tell you, earlier, 4 year back, 5 year back, summer used to be very harsh for daily distribution companies. But after installing these smart devices, not at 100% places, but around 50 to 20% places, not smart switch gear, the one I have shown. This is the afterthought. This is the one now we want, the compact one. Uh, at least now there is no more, everyday night calls, or, getting call about fire burnt or something like that. So we have peaceful night. Now that is the biggest improvement, I would say. And
Congratulations,
even
congratulations.
during the COVID time, or even recently, the thunderstorms there, we hardly had any outages.
Hmm.
This is the big advantage, and customers' testimonials, customer compliments are the biggest proof for that.
And the credit goes to good thought leaders like you.
Sorry.
And credit goes to good thought leader in your company like you.
Thank you.
Mhm. And sir, my question is, you have talked about the benefit. What are the challenges you have faced so far for the implementation of that smart switchgear in your company?
The biggest challenge is vendors. As I said, we have only so far we have only one product. But I am thankful to that company who has this product. They are working very closely with us. Whatever changes we are asking, they are incorporating it. But that's one of the purpose of my agenda of this meeting is I appeal to meter manufacturers, I appeal to switchgear companies, and I appeal to software companies, and I appeal to other utilities. If you feel that this device can make a change, I am 100% convinced. And if you feel this thing, then let's work onto it. Let's develop this device so that, once we implement, we can do wonders, and we
Yes,
can
we
serve
can.
electricity much better.
But what I could understand from your presentation, to have good smart switchgear, there is one important thing, that is the bidirectional communication. How do you ensure that thing?
No, that has to be ensured by the equipment manufacturer only. When I say bi-directional means, if there is an alert, the switchgear has to initiate the discussion. But if I want to initiate, say, switching off, or maybe I need a data, then the communication is from the server. So the communication can be initiated both by the server or by the meter.
Good.
Oh, sorry, meter means by the smart switchgear.
Now, time to invite some stalwarts. PP Bhai Saab, if you are here, please come and say a few words. Then I'm going to take two questions I have noted from the chat box. Bhai Saab, are you here?
Yes. Are you getting me, sir?
Yes, I am getting.
Are you getting me, Raj?
Yes, sir.
At the outset, I must appreciate Rajesh for helping organize such wonderful webinars, because it is something really innovative areas you see is picked up, and I must congratulate Rajesh for doing such a wonderful job. And not that he has picked up a wonderful subject, he has picked up a wonderful person, Mr. Bansal, whom to come up for this subject and bring us the difficulties in the operation system, the LT system. Particularly Mr. Rajesh Bansal, you see, I always admire him always for the knowledge he carries, and I tell you, he has done a good job not only for the country. You see, so far as the distribution system is concerned, he has gone to the various countries to really educate the people, whether it is the losses, whether it is the meters, whether anything else. And I'd say always he is trying to see help disseminate the knowledge to the others. Not that he is knowledgeable, he is really a person who carries the wonderful knowledge, see, with him on the operation aspects. But he always tries to disseminate also, and I really appreciate that Rajesh, he is trying to really take advantage of Bansal Saab, you see, for his wonderful store of knowledge with him on the operation aspects and that. And sorry, I could join a little later because some link problem today. And but so far as I could gather, you see, at the end of the lectures given by Bansal. It's a wonderful, I think it's really an area, a smart switchgear. I think exactly he has said people are working on the smart meter, but nobody is working on the smart gear, you see, which can really help us, you see, address the various problems, whether it is the losses, whether the other aspects. And I really appreciate Mr. Bansal when he says we talk of the overloading, we never talk coding. And that is going to see help in a big way, see, whether it is the areas. And very rightly told by him that if we save 1% losses, see, we save 100 crore of rupees. And this is what I think all of us, we have to put our best of our energies to see that we try to bring not only the reliability, but also try to have a economical distribution system. So with that, all my best wishes, not only to Rajesh, but my congratulations, doing a wonderful job, Mr. Jesh Bansal, doing a wonderful address for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your blessing. And in fact, the credit goes to my team. I'm not doing anything alone. It is basically output of all my team, Abhishek, Gulab, Hitesh. It is output of all these team
My,
efforts, and credit
my
goes to
best
everyone.
wishes to all the team members as well. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. And Shivani from Den India, Sheetal ma'am, all are basically working in hand to hand to get the success in that seminar and webinar. And now I am going to invite SS Rao. He has put some question in the chat box. Rao Saab, you can unmute yourself and ask the question directly to Bansal sir, if you are here. Mohammad Jaki Ahmed, if you are here, you can also ask. I think the people have left who have written some question in the chat box. Sir, I will send you question through email. Okay, Sunil Sharma ji asking one question. He has raised his hand. Please unmute yourself and ask. Sunil Sharma ji, you can unmute yourself before I say goodbye and ask the question if you have any. Sunil Sharma ji, kindly unmute it. Please.
Till then, I can ask the question.
Please ask.
Good evening, sir. My question to Bansal Saab is, I'm Nitin Doshi from Secure Meters, and I just wanted to find out how much it was difficult to switch the transformer at the highest load conditions. You said it was on the peak and you could reshuffle the loading situation where it was already overloaded. You must have gone through some kind of data statistics and then you could switch on. But how difficult or what kind of modality that you have used to switch over the loads during the daytime?
See, first thing is such type of load transfer, why it is required and how often it happens. Normally what happens, if there is change in the consumer consumption pattern, then only such type of shufflings are required. Now this is typically happen in two conditions. Summer and winter is one condition and daytime and nighttime is the other conditions. So what we do is, it's not that you have to do it every hour or once in a day or something like that. Only thing is, once you have the data, you immediately have the information. Now there are two ways. One is you have the shackle points on the feeder. Maybe it's a term we use in the distribution. Just to understand that if there is a long lane, एक लंबी गली है, तो it's both the end there are transformer, and both the end feeder is coming, and there is one pole where the wire from both the transformer are there. Those we call it shackle points. Now only thing is, based on the loading, you have to change the shackle point, which pole you have to open the jumper, and that's all. So you can transfer the load from one side to other side. Now these activities are not carried out every time, now and then, but it is carried out once you have the loading data and other things. The advantage is if you have online data or if you have daily data at least, then you can plan it. And because when, especially during the peak time, when there is peak, you know, out of 8,760 hours in a year, the peak lasts only for 100 or 120 hours. Now these are the hours for which you have to do the planning. So one way is for these 120 hours, you keep on adding the assets. And second thing is you do the optimization of your network. That, okay, this is, suppose this summer, last summer we had the peak was 3,200. This summer we reached to 3,400. Now this 200, where the impact will be, that you will come to know only once you have that peak. Once you have that peak. So immediately once you have the peak, you have to do the shuffling then and there itself. You cannot wait for next summer. If you wait for the next summer, means your this summer is gone, or you will have some incident or some failures in this summer. So that's where it helps. If what the system we used to have earlier is collecting the data after a month, that is once in a month. Now if you collect once in a month, compile the data, make the report, by that time 2 months are over. And after 2 months, you will not get the peak, because daily peak means June and July only. So if you June data, if you make a report in August, then you cannot take action. That action will be good for the next summer. So this is where the smart data and this thing helps. It does not mean that the shuffling is done continuously. It does this thing. And laying a LT feeder of 200 meter, 300 meter is 3 to 4 hour job for our people on a pole. It's not more than 3 to 4 hour job. Because each span is 30 meter, 300 meter means 10 pole के ऊपर wire बिछाना है. So you have tower wagon, cut, it hardly take any time. So that's how it is done.
Thank you very much for such a nice answer. I think you are satisfied, and because we are running out of time and we usually finish by 18:21 as per the normal practice, and we will take all the rest questions, whatever I have seen in the chat box, through email, and definitely answer through email. And Bansal sir, thank you very much for sparing your valuable time and giving such a nice, mind-blowing presentation to all the participants. And on behalf of Igniting Power Engineers and ALPA and then India, and from on the part of my team, I say thank you very much for sparing your time, and thanks again. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, well, thank you and have a nice day, nice weekend.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Be
you.
safe, yourself
Thank you
healthy.
very much, sir. Thank you. It was really nice insight.